Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
You know, the most common email I get on the show, Lewis, besides, of course, young women and some men asking how to get in touch with Lewis for romantic encounters, is how can I support the David Pakman Show? And, of course, you can become a member at davidpakman.com/membership. You'll get the podcast commercial free, the bonus shows, the almost 6-year archive of programming. That is one way. And the other way, which is very easy, is do all of your Amazon.com shopping through the link on davidpakman.com. On the right side of the website, there's a banner. Click it, bookmark that link, and do all your Amazon shopping through that link. And it's a very easy way to support the David Pakman Show. Did you hear this incredible story, Lewis, about a Virginia girl who was found eating herself in a cage in a mobile home?
I heard a little bit about it.
This is one of the most gruesome, disgusting stories I've heard in a while. Her parents, Brian and Shannon Gore, have been charged. The young girl was found caged and attempting to eat herself in a mobile home in Virginia, and cops say her parents are responsible. And we've got a picture of her parents here who some listeners have astutely pointed out appear to be brother and sister from the picture.
Yeah.
But that's a story for a completely different day. Obviously, I have no evidence of that. I just relay information that the audience sends in. The girl was malnourished. She's believed to be 5 or 6, but it can be sometimes hard to tell in these situations. She was discovered in a crib that was converted into essentially a cage after police arrived at the home in Gloucester County, Virginia, to investigate a burglary. And the girl's parents were arrested and charged with felony child abuse. The mother was also charged with attempted capital murder. We'll see what charges stick in this disgusting story. The gruesome twosome now faces first-degree murder charges because after this, when the police were on scene, Lewis, they found the remains of what authorities believe to be another child buried outside their mobile home. Gloucester Sheriff Major Darrell Warren said, "I've done this for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like it in my life." A month-old baby boy was also found at the home. He was in good condition, fortunately. And both he and the older girl who was in the cage are now in the care of the County Department of Social Services. Brian Gore, the father, who's 29, reportedly told police the girl had been kept in the cage since the summer. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Not surprisingly, neighbor Tim Hudnall told the local newspaper, that they, quote, seemed like nice people. How often do we hear that?
Yeah, pretty much all the time.
He noted he had seen the baby boy but never saw the girl with the Gores in the 6 years they've been neighbors. He was a really nice guy, said Brian Gore's ex-girlfriend Sandy as well to WTKR3 News. And he went to church and everything. Something about that line really disturbs me. He was a really nice guy. He went to church and everything. Who could figure someone who goes to church could be capable of keeping their daughter in a cage to the point of she's so malnourished she tries to eat her own skin?
Guess you never really know your neighbors, do you?
You know what this brings up. You know what emails I'm getting. First of all, is this a bad parenting story? Is this a child poverty story? Is this a mental illness story? Is it a religion or church story? I don't even really know what kind of a story. It's a very bizarre story. It's a very disgusting, gruesome story. But I don't actually know what's the focus of this madness.
I think it's just madness.
It doesn't fall into any of these categories.
I don't know.
I'm starting to get emails about this already, which I know are controversial. And by the way, Lewis, you tell me how much time we have left. We're starting to get emails from people saying not everybody should just be allowed to have kids. In other words, maybe there are certain situations where people should not be allowed to have kids. And the thing is, with this particular story, even if you believe that, we don't know for sure that there was any evidence prior to this daughter being born that would have suggested this couple should not have kids. So I don't know that I don't even want to get into the argument because, you know, that's a huge can of worms of whether there should be restrictions placed on certain couples for whatever reason on having children.
Right.
We don't know that there would have been any red flags prior to this. I would assume that if we looked deeply enough, there would have been something. But we don't know that. What do you think of when people start suggesting maybe just not any old couple should be able to have children?
I mean...
And then, by the way, are you opening up for a state-sanctioned forced abortion in the case of pregnancies?
Right. Well, look at China.
Right.
You're allowed one child, right?
And then it causes, because
people would rather have a male.
it causes a lot of gruesome stuff to be happening often. Often's not the right word. To be happening to it more to a degree that we are aware of.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say, with back alley abortions when it is determined that it is a girl.
I think in our case, it just wouldn't make sense to implement something like that. If a couple is not fit to have a child, to raise a child, you just have to hope that someone finds out about it and that the child gets taken away and put in a good home. But once you start trying to legislate who can have one, who can't, what you do with one when someone's pregnant, it's just too much to handle.
Real quick, should somebody who has been a convicted child molester be allowed to have children? What would you say if a state government started saying, you know what, in this state, convicted child molesters, pedophiles can't have kids?
I'm perfectly okay with that.
That you would be okay with.
100%.
But not all of the other scenarios I mentioned, other types of mental illness, history of violence towards women, whatever.
I think that is the first and foremost the one situation above all else where the person should not be allowed to raise a child.
All right. Well, Lewis not equivocating one bit on this one, ladies and gentlemen. David at davidpakman.com. Tell me what you think. And also Lewis at davidpakman.com. Louis at davidpakman.com. Producer Lewis now with his own email, which we're making available to you.